real estate agents, not real estate agents, but you know what I mean, realtors that know the business so well. So thanks for that. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Live from Western New York. We're delighted to be with you here this morning to talk about the real estate market and to talk about, any trends going on or anything that we think we could share with you to help you navigate through the week. But I just want to say on behalf of the leadership team, welcome. And today we have Lou and Kathy from Rochester on the call, as well as Kevin Horan will be speaking for First Priority Mortgage for Ken. And our co-host this morning sharing some great info. We're so excited that we have Matthew Whitehead on to talk about the market as well. So greetings to all of you. Happy Monday on this dreary Monday. Hopefully by the weekend it will be much, much nicer. And welcome to our newest Hannah Realtors, Rosalie and Arlene and Michaela, Roberto and Christopher, as well as the balance of agents who joined us over the last month. So best of luck to all of you, and let's get started. We have this morning, we're doing our office spotlight, as y'all know, that have been on the call before. And the goal is to familiarize you a little bit with each of our offices in each marketplace. And we flip-flop from Buffalo to Rochester from week to week. So we're delighted this week to have Gina from our Lewiston office giving us some info on her market. So good morning, Gina. Gina, welcome to you.
Good morning. How are you?
We are wonderful.
Great. So I see my little picture here on the side of our building. I was going to run outside, and now I might not have to do that because, you guys tell me I have 3 to 4 minutes. That's definitely not enough time for me to talk. So I'll stay put and talk because otherwise we get nothing done. So Lewiston, New York is that another camera right here? Hold on, we might have to turn that off. Can you turn my phone off over there? Because I see that we're facing one of the other cameras, and I want to make sure you have the right one. Are you looking at the ceiling?
We were.
Yeah, we were. Okay.
There
we go.
Okay, awesome.
Sorry, I'm so grainy, but I'm just going to continue on because I don't have enough time. So Lewiston, New York, we are located about 5 minutes from Canada. So either way, you can go to the Queenston Bridge, or you can go to the Rainbow Bridge, where we are about 7 miles from the falls, the Niagara Falls. So if you are if you've never seen Niagara Falls or been on the Maid of the Mist or anything like that, you have to come and visit Lewiston and go see some of our sites. So, I mean, it's one of those boutique, small little villages with a town of about 16,000 residents. And the homes, if you were looking at the homes that were just previewed with the listings, 176 Mill Street with the stone basement and the stone roof, you'll see a lot of those homes within our town of Lewiston. We have a lot of that kind of character within our listings here, and a lot of them built in the 1800s, and then we do have some newer ones, but a lot of updated ones. So I'm going to just kind of, our average sale price is about $280. But with that being said, we also have luxury homes within this area up at the escarpment over by our country club. I know our Karen Baker out of our Amherst office has a listing up on Upper Mountain Road for over $2.5 million. And I see on the honor roll on Friday that it is pending. So congratulations to that. So we do have an array of homes from the $200,000 average sale price up into the $1 million homes overlooking where you can see Toronto and Canada on the Niagara River. And we're close to Lake Ontario as well. Is there anything in particular, Charlene? I know Charlene's in Lewiston a lot, and I know that she's here for a lot of our festivals, which I will talk about. But I mean, is there anything in particular that you can think of wanting to ask of Lewiston?
We would love to hear about your festivals, because again, that would give us the opportunity to come visit your office.
Yeah, it's one of our biggest draws, and there's hundreds of thousands of people here through the summer, probably within the next couple of weeks, starting with our garden festival and moving on to our peach. We have from our garden festival, then we have our I wrote them all down too. You think I would have these ready? The Peach Festival, the Jazz Festival, where we have live jazz on both ends of the street. The streets are closed down. You'll see our Howard Hanna tents there. So if you ever want to come down as well, agents, feel free to come and hang out in our tent, wear your green. We love to be very supportive and very festive and colorful during those festivals. We also have Art Park, the outdoor where you're overlooking the river, actually, the outdoor art park concert series. And I believe that's already started. So they used to be free concerts. I think now you have to pay it. There's like a $12 or $15, but where can you go and watch outdoor concerts in the summer for, $12? And they're big names. So, take a look at our Chamber of Commerce for Lewiston, and it has a list of all the events that are coming up from really now. I think next week it starts our festivals, and they go on. We have a festival probably every 3 to 4 weeks, I would say, which is a really big draw for that. We don't have, it's not like a seasonal, I wouldn't say village, because we have a lot of residents. We do have a lot of Airbnbs within Lewiston that will get really busy about this time up until September, October. And then we will see it pick back up in December when we have our Christmas walk. We have horse and buggy on the street. We have our ghost walks. So there's just so much to do here in Lewiston.
Wow, you all do a lot. I love Lewiston, and in particular, the Jazz Festival. I always try to make it out for the Jazz
You're always
Festival.
there, yes.
It's a great time. It's a great time. So your market is good. Your market is strong.
Market is very strong. Yes, it's the same thing. It lists, and we're having our multiple offers still. If if any village home opens up, it typically is within the week, because we have a lot of people that want to retire in Lewiston. So if these homes pop up in our village, they're usually sold within a very quick time frame. Yeah.
Got it. Well, great. Thank you so much. We love
You're
Lewiston,
welcome.
and
Come visit us.
we'll all come visit you for sure, Gina. Thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
just to let everyone know, I believe that Lisa's going to pop up the Derby slide once again, just to give you one last reminder that this Saturday, and it's supposed to be an absolutely gorgeous day with sunshine, but this coming Saturday, we're having our Derby event for the Howard Hanna Children's Free Care Fund in Hamburg, and Lisa Avery's neck of the woods. But Gina will also be delighting us with some of her singing.
Yes.
And for those of you who don't know, she is a singer and she does perform. So we're thrilled we're going to have her, but also just wanted to remind you that we need to get those tickets sold pre-sale at the door, just to have a better idea of how many people will be attending. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, please jump on and get it today. And we're just looking forward to a great event this coming Saturday. So without further ado, let's bring Matthew Whitehead on, who's going to be our main speaker today, to enlighten us and inspire us. And Matthew, you're going to do all those things, right, to help us get through the week.
Yep, that's the plan. That's the goal.
Okay.
It's interesting. We're talking about the market. We're talking about kind of what's going on and the pace of it. I think that people in general tend to procrastinate or freeze when things are challenging or when they're confusing. And I think we're seeing some of that right now. We're kind of saying, how do we get more listings? How do we get people to move? There's no inventory to buy. How do we get them to kind of shift? And I think that what I want to do is just give everybody some thoughts and some ideas. So again, this isn't like, oh, Matt's right and I've been doing it right. It's just for you to consider. It's for you to think. But mostly what I hope is that you go back to your manager and you guys have a conversation about your business, because I think that right now we're in a time where some of us are not running our business actually like a business. That is not structured like a business. It doesn't mirror a business. It mirrors activity, but not necessarily a business. So I'm going to ask you guys just some basic questions just for you to reflect. And I hope that you write some things down. As far as the ratios that I'm going to say, or the conversion metrics or anything that I speak of, your managers will have all of that. So again, please go to your manager, have that conversation with them, because that's part of what this is really about, is for us to work better together and just to create some thoughts and ideas. So the first question, I kind of already said it. Do you run your business like a business? Does it follow a business structure? Do you know what your brand is? Do you know what people say about your brand, which is you? How do you promote your brand? Where do you promote it? How often do you do that? Do you know how much on average you keep? So for example, what I mean by that is, let's say that I have a basic conservative business model and I have expenses. I have a building, I have rent, it's a triple net lease. I have maybe a manager there, or an assistant. I have expenses for, technology, or maybe I have some business partners. Maybe I have some tools that I use, like subscriptions, monthly subscriptions that I use that support my business. So let's assume that on average, my monthly expenses are about $5,000. So then if I say, okay, if I do one transaction, how much do I keep on a transaction? So I know how many transactions I need just to break even before I buy food for my family, clothing, pay my rent, anything. I got to make sure that I can cover my basic costs, and then I can start growing. So do you know what those numbers are? Let's say, for example, that if I'm using this model, if I keep 25%, let's just use that number. If I say, well, on a $200,000 property, if I keep 25%, I made $1,500. Well, if my monthly goals is $5,000, I got to do like 4 of those in order just to break even. So am I structuring my business to make sure that I'm creating that wheel, that I am making sure that I hit that monthly goal every month, and that I can also keep building and growing? So I want you to think about the market, and I want you to think about the odds of conversion. Okay, so there are national statistics. These are from NAR. It's not me just making crap up. So these are from NAR, and I want you just to kind of consider some of these things. So if the market is tight, competition is heavy, there's constant downward pressure on your money, and you don't want to spend money, but you have to grow your business, right? So here's what I want you to think about. According to NAR, if I go out, try to cold call, door knock, farm, my statistical conversion on cold conversations is 2001. If I can leverage my current relationships and past clients and customers, my statistical conversion is 3-2. Okay, so let's think about that. I also know that there's a 10-to-1 ratio on my database conversion, which what that means is if I had 100 people in my database was 100 people, I should do about 10 transactions if I'm consistently communicating with them. So throughout the year, if I'm consistent with communication, I should convert 10-to-1. Okay, so that's just a good, I'm going to come back to all these things and tie them together. So let's say that I want to increase my business 50%, 50%, and I have 100 people in my database. I need about 50 more people, 50 more people in my database if I know that 10-to-1 conversion ratio. So if I have 100 and I did 10, a 50% increase, I did 5. I need 5 more for a 50% increase. So again, I have 100 people. I need to get 50 people. So now my conversion stays that 10-to-1. So I should do about 15 transactions if I'm remaining in constant communication with those people in that database. So one thing that I think is interesting is that people confuse database and their sphere of influence. So I just kind of want to clear up kind of my interpretation of them. Your sphere is everybody that you meet. So like everybody on this call right now could be in your sphere. But like me, for example, let's say that you know me, you're not going to put me in your database. So I do real estate myself. I most likely will not use you. No offense to you, but I'm going to use myself. I'm going to leverage my own talents and resources. So I might be in your sphere and I might know certain people, but you're not going to put me into the database. So I look at it this way. Your sphere is all the potential. Everybody that you meet is a potential opportunity. Your database is the application of that potential. So for example, if I meet Lisa, we have a great conversation and we start to hit it off and we're talking about value, I could put her in my database as it's somebody that I want to continue conversations with. If I meet Lisa and Lisa says, oh, I'm in real estate too, I'm not going to apply her. Or if she says, oh, my sister works at ABC Realty, very low probability that Lisa's going to come with me. So I'm not going to put her in that database and say, well, I'm just going to keep sending her stuff that she can give to her sister. So I want you to think of it that way. When we're talking about your database, it should be the application of potential. So, and again, when we're talking about your database, I'm not talking about just a list. I'm talking about genuine connection in some manner. So there has to be consistent, genuine connection. So let's go back to that business model. If I had $5,000 a month to break even, that's $65,000 for the year. So if I'm looking at my sales and I say, what am I doing this year? I have to make $65,000 just before I even start making enough money for a sandwich. That's just to cover my costs. So before I can feed my family and clothe them and pay my own house and all that stuff, I have to look at my expenses. So then I start to say, well, how much on a per transaction do I keep? Okay, so I said before, if I assume my average sale price was 200,000, let's say I keep 30%. On average, I'm keeping 1,800 bucks per transaction. Okay, it's important that you know what you keep per transaction. It's just a business rule. So let's say I want to build my business and somebody comes up to me and says, hey, you should buy leads. Okay, great. How much for the leads? And they say, I'll give you 1,000 cold leads for $1,000. So in essence, that's each month they'll give me 1,000 leads and it's going to cost me $1,000, $1 a lead. I say $1 a lead, that's cheap, right? But what I learned from the conversion statistics is that cold leads, it's about 2,000 to 1. So it might take me $2,000 in 2 months to close one lead. And if I make $1,800 per transaction, so if it costs me $2,000 to get one lead and I make $1,800 on that one lead, is it worth it to invest $1,800 or $2,000 and keep 1,800? Does that make sense to you? So like, it may not make sense to you. To me, it does not make sense. You might say, well, I'm better at conversion. God bless you. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses. But I want you to consider, if it's going to cost me $2,000 to get $1,800, just as a businessman, it's probably not a good investment for me. So now let's say I have a database of 100 people, and I know that my conversion on my database, if I'm in constant connection, should equate to about 10 to 1. But I also know that if I leverage my past clients and customers, people that have already utilized me, for warm referrals, that conversion goes to 3 to 2. So if 3 people, I'll probably convert 2 if it's passed off by somebody that has already used my services, like those services, and tells somebody that they should use like my services as well. 3 to 2. So I'm probably going to say, I'm going to allocate my time and my energy to get in front of the referrals. I'm going to leverage those 100 people within that database to start getting me more referrals. So I want to make sure that you are having a plan for referrals. What are you going to send to these people? How often are you going to send it? What questions are you going to ask them? I don't think, hey, can you give me referrals? I don't think that's a really good question to get referrals. It feels like that's more about me than the person that I'm trying to serve, right? So again, I think that these are questions to have with your manager to say, hey, let's just role play. What if I asked you this? How would that feel? Does it feel good when I ask you this? Where are people coming to refer you from? And then the last couple of things I want you just to think about before you go back to your managers. What tools are you using and how are you leveraging them? Because there are so many things that are accessible to you that you might be paying for them elsewhere. And it may not make sense. You might say, well, I like this, or I like to be unique. Now is the time to be strategic. So I would look at the things that you have right in front of you and say, I never looked at that before. I didn't think that I cared about that. I didn't know that we could do that. Now is the time to look at your flow, look at how you go through a listing, look at how you work with a buyer, and then look at our suite with your manager and say, do you see anything that fits that I may not have seen? That's where your manager comes in to say, you know what, why don't you try this? I didn't realize you weren't using that. That's a great tool for you based on your style, based on the way that you flow. I think that you're missing an opportunity. So there's a lot of things that you can leverage. And I would also look at who's leveraging you. Now, being leveraged isn't bad as long as it's equitable. Like I have my managers leverage me all the time. I leverage them. It is a reasonable, equitable relationship. If you are over leveraged, I might consider looking at that. Look at how you're leveraging your manager. How are you leveraging your office? And I say how you're leveraging your office because I get to interact with certain professionals, and sometimes they'll say, let's just meet at Starbucks. Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm good. But like, if they're going to talk to me about investing large amounts of capital asking for sponsorships, those kind of things. I prefer being in a professional environment where I can see their employees. I can see the way that they run their operation. I can see the dirty bathroom. There's these stories about your restaurant's only good as your dirty bathroom. If I go to a great restaurant, I go in the bathroom and it's disgusting, I'm most likely never going back to that restaurant. So I love to go to an organization and see the building and see how they take care of their employees and see how the building looks and see how the bathroom is. And I mean, I think those things matter. So are you leveraging your office? Are you leveraging the opportunity to bring people in and show them that you're professional? Are you leveraging your MC? Make sure that you're not just giving people, you're not selling them your database disguised as promotion. So, and again, your manager will know what I mean by that. So if you say, what was he talking about? Your managers know what I mean when I say that. So the other thing I would just want you to think, and I'm going to wrap up. Are you doing the things that you've always done? Or are you trying things that you've never tried? I think, there's this fear of, you know what, I'm just going to do the things that have always worked, but the world doesn't look the way that it always did. So I would just tweak a thing here or there, and those small tweaks will make a huge, huge difference in your business. But the very first thing you need to determine, are you actually running your business like a business, or are you just going through the motion of doing transactions? They are very different things. And if you want to create scale, you need to know what your expenses are. You need to know what your overhead is. You need to know what's coming in, what's your on an average, how much am I keeping? And then how much can I spread that? Are you spending 7% of your income on marketing and advertising to build, which statistically you should? So some people, when I talk and do a business plan, I say, how much did you spend? About $1,000. It's like, well, that may not make any sense based on the scale in which you want to grow. So I would say now is a great time to start looking at your business model and determining, are you structured for success so that you can grow? And if you don't, those are the business models that don't really survive because they're not really a structure. They're more kind of like a bunch of stuff that kind of hopefully sticks. And when the market shifts or when the economy shifts, those people get scared really quick. So if you have a sound business model, you have a good structure, you should be able to weather the storm no matter what's going on. So I'm going to stop there, pass it back to
Matthew?
Charlene. Yep.
I just want to add two things because what you said is always so spot on. But given that we're in May 1st, a lot of people are looking back at their business and saying, am I where I should be as it relates to my business plan that maybe I put together in the beginning of the year? Where am I? And from a seasonality index standpoint, I do use those a lot, as you all know. And we are going into May and June are the two top months for listing inventory. So to tag on to what Matthew just said, what tools are you using? What are you out there doing on a regular basis from a prospecting standpoint? We decided that a great next week speaker would be Kathleen Nolan, who is the Senior Marketing Director for New York State. And she's going to come on and she's going to be our co-host speaker. And she's going to talk about some of the tools that we do have that maybe you can utilize. So I'm hoping that we get a good turnout for that. Because again, it will validate, and support everything that Matthew just shared with us and told us. So thank you for that, Matthew.
Darlene, just to piggyback, the best marketing tool, the best resource that you guys can use that's going to make a difference in your business is the one that you use that creates a result. So, it's kind of like people go, well, that's a shiny penny. That looks cool. I might try that. Do it if it makes sense. There are certain things that like we have, for example, that I would say in my business structure of being a real estate agent don't make sense. As a manager, they make sense. As a GM, they might make sense, might not make sense. You have to figure out where you are in your plan. And so there are certain things that are great at certain levels, and then you shift. So again, as Kathleen comes on, be curious, but then sit with your manager. I cannot stress enough. Your manager is one of your best assets to sit with them and say, what are you thinking? How do I flow? What have you seen? What are good opportunities? Do you think that I could use that well? I have certain managers, for example, that I would say, Gina, you definitely have the personality for this. Matt, you don't have Gina's personality, so you should go this way. So there's things that it's not one size fits all. So make sure that you're curious and you're open, but then you're also going in and communicating with your manager to go to the next step.
Thank you so much. And Kevin Haran, are you on? We hate to cut you short, my dear, but
Sorry, Kevin, you're used to me.
Matthew was just going like a gangbuster today.
I know. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to make it fast, but it's important messaging. Okay. First priority, we're here to help. We're here to help you make money. And that's very important. We're family and we care and we understand what you're dealing with every single day. Okay. We've been doing this forever. I mean, a lot of my team, a lot of Rochester team, I mean, we joke, we're over 30 years in the business. Okay. So we know how to make everything work. And the biggest thing, and I'm going to piggyback on Matt, because I wrote it all down and it's like Matt and I already talked, but we did not. And the biggest takeaway today is two things. Each and every one of us we have to stay uncomfortable each and every day. We cannot be comfortable in this business. So what does that mean? It means pick up the phone. It means making that dial, making that call, whatever it takes. Don't rely on your email to get your message across. Just pick up the phone. Say, hey, I ran into you guys yesterday at the open house. I know you weren't interested in that home. I would love to be able to sit down with you and talk about how I do my business and how I can get people in the dreams of their home, homes of their dream, and that type of thing. The biggest thing is, once again, is this. We measure everything here at First P. We're at 4.8 out of 5, which means 4.8%. Out of a maximum 5, we're at 4.8. So our clients love us. And the easiest thing that Matt was talking about of how to get referrals is to get referrals from the people that you've been taking care of and who you basically said, hey, you need to go see so-and-so from First Priority Mortgage. Okay. We have so much success with our clients and with the agents that work with us that if you're not using us to the fullest that you really expect us to, we can't help unless you want us to. The cool thing about this is you have choices. We're here to help grow your business. Sit down with any of the MCs that how would you grow my business? We would love to sit down and talk to you about how we can grow your business each and every day. And the bottom line is the following. You can get more referrals from the people that from your clients that you've taken care of. We don't necessarily give away special mugs and t-shirts and bathrobes and all that other stuff. But do we put money in the agent's pocket. We're here all the time. We work the weekends. We're always busy trying to help and understand where your client's coming from and getting them into the best deal. Don't forget the second look. They get $100 just to talk to us if they've already been approved by their other lender. And everybody I talk to, when I get that opportunity, they always say, wow, I appreciate it. Thank you for so much for taking advantage of understanding what this market is doing so I can take advantage and make my next offer work. Each and every MC is equipped to help your clients get the next offer. Okay. So I can go on and on. Bottom line is this. If you're not using us, you're missing out on potential referrals, in my opinion, because we're very good at what we do. Give us a chance. For those that use us, thank you. For those that are thinking about it, thank you. For those that don't use us, thank you. We want to help any way we can. I have another 20 minutes, but I won't. But thank you.
Thanks. Get the hook.
I know.
One last announcement, so don't go yet. Obviously, we have a lot of education that's always being offered through Hannah University, but just wanted to remind you, for those people who can't come to the Derby event, we are raffling off 2 Luke Bryan VIP tickets, and those are only $20 each, and they are, I think the tickets were over $800. Great seats, great section, and your chances are much better than a scratch off. Because if we sell, let's just say we sell 100, 150 tickets, your chances are really good of getting these VIP tickets. So please go on, scan the QR code and purchase those Luke Bryan tickets. And I know that Kathy and Lou are over at the training center in Rochester getting ready for the first day of Fast Track there. We have one coming scheduled for the Buffalo area in June. So I don't see the slide up on the screen for education, but if you have any questions, you can go right to your dashboard and pull up the calendar for, for further information. So everybody have a great week. Sorry, we went a couple minutes over, but I think it was, very, very good timing. Happy May Day. And we'll see you all next week with Kathleen Nolan. Don't forget, if not at the Derby event. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Matthew.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Gina. That was awesome seeing Lewiston. And of course, our regionals, Kevin Haran. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Take care.